Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Jazz Friday, and I'm glad you're here. As I said, I think a couple times, I'm going to be focusing for a few weeks on these Jazz Fridays on a book by a brand new book by a good friend, my brother by another mother. We call each other Kirk Byron Jones. It's a book called The Spiritual Treasure of Jazz. I really highly recommend you pick it up. It's a great book of inspiration, and Kirk talks about different jazz artists and why, how they have moved him and how they have influenced his life. So each of these next 5 weeks, I'm going to pick one of the artists that he focuses on. I won't be able to cover all of them. And just play a little bit of music that's representative of them. I want to have a huge caveat to that I am not in any way attempting to imitate or emulate these great artists. I am hoping that me playing some music that they've also played or sung, I'm pointing you towards these legends if you don't already know them. So in the first chapter of the book, Kirk talks about the time when he was feeling like the well was running a little bit dry and he wasn't feeling very inspired, and he was feeling overwhelmed and maybe a little bit frustrated with God, and almost as an act of rebellion, he put on a CD by Ella Fitzgerald. It's called The Intimate Ella. A lot of us associate Ella Fitzgerald primarily with scat singing. She's one of the best. She is the best scat singer, I think, ever. But she also had an amazing ability to interpret what a lot of people call the Great American Songbook. She just, nobody could sing a ballad like Ella. Nobody could swing like Ella. Of course, I'm not going to be singing, but Kirk mentions 4 songs that he recommends listening to from that album, The Intimate Ella. I might recommend that you check out Ella Fitzgerald, The Complete Piano Duets. That has all the songs that are on The Intimate Ella, as well as a lot of others. 2 hours, almost 3 hours of great music with Ella Fitzgerald singing and great pianists playing. Anyway, the 4 songs I'm going to play that Kirk talks about are Come to Me, My Melancholy Baby, and Misty, and I Cried for You, and and there's Search for Tomorrow. First, I want to just share this poem from the book, a reflection on discovering Ella Fitzgerald at a time when Kirk wasn't expecting to find inspiration and connection with God and in the jazz. This is called Grace Around the Corner. Sometimes you find something wonderful you never knew that you were looking for. close with this prayer from Kirk's book. Dear God, thank you for not needing to be named to be known, and not needing to be invited to be present. Amen. I hope you have a blessed weekend. Hope we see you in church, online on Sunday at 8:30, 10, and 5 o'clock. And I'll be back here on Monday. Take care.